That's my buffalo dick.
Not
It's
his dick.
so it's
You
like
wanna touch
stretched
my
out and like
buffalo.
hardened. It's really. Got this feeling. This card's gonna spike. It fits into almost every EDH deck. God, that sucks. I had the most trouble with that. Anyways, all through my collection, inside my home, I have about as much as I can possibly hold. I got that Mirage Mirror in my pocket, got that CommanderSmith beat. Something's happening to my nethers when the price drops. Woo! Yeah, do you know the song? I screwed it up
again,
completely.
I have it in my head, but this happens to me a lot. Apparently, it's like I know the song, but I don't know the name.
So
Or-
your son is too young, but I watch Trolls about 3 times a day with the boys. So it's Justin Timberlake. I got this. I got this feeling
in my soul.
Got this feeling is what it's called. Yeah. So I was just like, well, that wasn't my original song. Yeah. I like how I was like in the middle. I was like, God damn it, I screwed it up. We're not retaking that. I got to get your natural reaction with it. Yeah. So that really sucked. But that wasn't the original song I was
you
going
did
to
an
do.
amazing job. Don't worry about it.
My original song was going to be "This Is America," but it was going to be "This Is CommanderSmiths," and then that's as far as I'd get. I'm like, I can't do it.
That would have been tough.
Yeah.
And we're not political. We are apolitical here. So,
welcome to CommanderSmiths.
this is episode 17. I'm Lowry Smith.
And I am Adam Smith.
And we went out of order.
We did. But we are cousins.
That's right. We
are cousins.
And not out of order on that one. Adam's older
I'm
than
first.
me.
You're second. But we went out. Yeah, anyways.
I mean, technically, you're third and I'm fourth.
Yeah, I
Out
guess.
of the cousins.
But out of us talking right now.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if you're going to be picky. I just want to knock you down 2 pegs.
So you can catch us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at CommanderSmiths.
And then you can email us at commandersmiths@gmail.com.
Or check out YouTube. We actually just shot another video tonight. It won't be up by the time this podcast comes out because this is easier. Battlebond. Dueling Boxes.
Dueling Boxes.
And that was round 3. And this one was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
There's a pretty sweet interaction with one of the cards. Remember the card that we both drew at the same frickin' time?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and we were just like, oh, what?
It was both our best card.
The weird thing about this was the boxes were very similar.
Very similar.
And also, if you haven't watched the video or any videos on people opening, the packs are different. How they have the packs situated.
Yeah, like the packs are like looser around the cards, and then the arrangement of the cards in the pack are different.
Instead of you going through the commons, uncommons, and then you get to your rare or whatever foil. And
it's just
it
token,
starts with your
land,
token,
rare,
yeah,
or foil,
pops in there. When sometimes there's some cool foil rares that pop in there.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know if I like it as much. I mean, the commons are time wasting. I understand that either way, but like, I generally see what I want to get. But once I hit the rare right away, it's kind of like I don't care about the rest of anything.
Exactly. It's like, why even have the other cards in the pack kind of thing? Because it was weird because you got I like having those crap you go through in the beginning, and then you're like, okay, it's getting a little better. We get our uncommons, and then you get to your rare, and then sometimes there's a foil right after that, and so it was.
You'll just have to check out the video,
if
you want to see the domination.
The domination. I wouldn't say it was a domination by either one of us. It was pretty damn close. We'll just say this. Both boxes were pretty damn good.
Yeah. We both really actually enjoyed the boxes, unlike the last 2 for myself.
I enjoyed the last 2.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Anyway, so this week, what are we going to talk about, Larry?
We plan on talking about our experience we played Sealed Battlebond Two-Headed Giant at a card store on Friday night.
The first time we've done that. I mean, besides the Commander Battlebond, Two-Headed Giant. We've done that. We've done it wrong, and then I've played it at 1 or 2 other times, and I think I did it right because when we played it, and it was right there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We'll get to that in a second, but then segment 2, we're going to talk about the Dark. We're going to kind of go through some cards that we're kind of doing
specifically
this.
Like
we should call this segment something. What do
we
you
don't
think?
have it.
We don't have a name
we
for
don't
it.
Have it.
The set in review for cards that you should buy. Yes, I got it.
Is that like an encyclopedia name? Like,
there was a period after each word I said there. The set that you should buy with cards and stuff and things. Anyway, so we're going through cards that pretty much are under $5.
Like underappreciated gems within the set
that can be used in EDH that are pretty dang good. So
could be good,
and could go up in value because they should be used more.
So it's kind of a little bit of a speculation segment, kind of not.
But we're starting kind of older with the because that set not all of the new Commander players necessarily play or even know about the older stuff. That's kind of why they don't
really
get played.
It's really time consuming to dig through older sets.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna
we'll do it for you.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna break down the ones that we think you should buy that are under $5. So that'll be segment 2, and then of course
Smiths Max of the Week.
You didn't let me say I wanted to finish it off.
Did you? I mean, you can.
We finish off with. Go ahead, Larry.
No, I already did it. Cut it into the spot and we'll be fine.
You're all about me cutting and doing all that stuff, and then when I go through it, I'm like, I'm not cutting that. I'm just leaving it the way it is. But yeah, Smith's Specs of the Week. We will finish off with that, and that'll be our week in review. Anyways, let's start off with Battlebond.
Battlebond!
I wish you could see. Larry just flexed like Hulk smash.
It's like He-Man, and Skeletor, we're yelling at each other.
So we did the Battlebond
seal. We each had 6 packs apiece,
and this was at one of my neighbor's friend's store, which is Phoenix Games in Osseo, Minnesota.
Yeah,
had a pretty good turnout. We could have had a little bit more, but that was a good group.
They're just kind of a brand new location.
Yeah, so he's trying
to get a community going, and I thought it was a lot of fun. The owners were pretty cool.
So the CommanderSmiths were a team.
Yeah.
And how did we do?
I don't want to really talk about that at the beginning.
Well, so the thing is we went 1-2, but the games we lost, one of us was mono fucked.
Your mana screwed or color screwed, or I mean, we'll talk about it. But I think you learn a lot. We've never played Two-Headed Giant, and I think we learned a lot.
Well, after we finished the game, as we sat down and were like, okay, what could we have done different? And I think how we built our deck. Well, let's first start off. Let's talk about what happened. So
we each opened up 6 packs. Lowry pulled crap again. I just can't open up anything. Up until this box, I've just been drawing.
Yeah, I pulled about $30 worth of cards because I got a foil Vigor,
and then you
Mystic Confluence.
Yeah, was awesome.
And
you got a Diabolic Intent.
Yeah.
So
it was a pretty good box.
My best card was Korvath's Fury.
Well, actually, the best card was the Zender Split.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I did get
awesome.
the coin flipping legends, and they were pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the interaction with the stuff, it was really cool because of you could help we made it so that we had each one. If you had the partners, Lowry would have the other side of it. So we were helping each other get the other one. So it made more sense because I could cast. What happened almost every single time is Lowry would play his down or I would play mine down, like Zender Split.
Go
get it, and I was able to cast, or Lowry was able to cast the other one. So you got both of them out right at the same time.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So
and then you just start flipping coins. But
we played. What did you play? What colors here?
So I played red, green, ramp-ish,
and I was blue, black, counter kill creature crap.
Control-ish.
Yeah.
And so
it was a good idea.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we learned right there off the bat was I thought we would have more time with 30 life,
but it's
a lot quick, faster format than I anticipated.
Yeah, the games took a long time, but it was faster. Your life was gone pretty damn quick.
Yeah. We were playing way too defensively.
Yeah. Well,
right off the bat.
So what the problem was is the 2 games we lost, one of us was mono-screwed, the other one was mono-screwed the next time it happened. First game, let's go through that.
I kind of wanted to talk about just distribution of cards and how kind of hard that was. That took us a full hour to
we were up to the buzzer of when we had to be done making our
what are we
decks.
doing? How are we cutting? Because there was just so many cards to choose from.
Yeah.
And how are you going to make this efficient? And we didn't, but it was kind of just how do we it really did take forever. It was okay, how can I help you here? And it just wasn't
Well, and that was the hard part is I'd be like, okay, Larry, what do you think about what I cut here? And you're like, yeah, maybe cut that. But he was still working on his deck. So it was like, it was kind of hard for him to focus on mine and me to focus on his, because we both just came up to the timer on that.
Yeah, and so I think that was an interesting thing to learn from, because it wasn't quite like a normal sealed pool at like a pre-release party or anything. But
and that's what we're used to. We've done those quite a bit.
And I think we learned that we should have it maybe a little bit closer to a sealed pool. Yeah. Like treat it more like that rather than something that as expansive or huge.
Yeah. So the first game,
we were playing against white blue and white red deck.
Yep, and I got mono screwed with. Oh, everybody actually did mulligan except for one person, I think.
Yeah, I mulliganed.
I had to go down one card, but then I was like, okay, I got 2 black land, or no, it was two blue land. I was like, all right, that's fine. I can work with that.
I didn't draw black land forever.
I got like 4 blue land, but all my cards were kill stuff, and they were all black.
Yeah, it was like assassinate and stuff, and you just couldn't play anything.
I couldn't do anything.
I think the instant you drew a black land, the turn before they played Seaborn Muse.
Yep. Oh yeah, that was our killer.
And so it's like, well, assassinate doesn't work anymore.
That's
like
exactly
at all.
Right. And then the turn, because then I had that demon thing, the 2+2 or 2+2 flying, turn it into a demon, and we were gonna wipe all their creatures. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna put 1/1 counters on all our creatures. And I'm like, well, we're fucked.
Now we're done.
Well, actually, at that point, they killed us because then they gave them all trample. And
it was super quick.
Yeah,
then we played a friendly match, and then like time expired, but that was a much more competitive game.
So that's when we got the Zender Split thing going. Lowry you got Zender Split out. No, I'm
you
the
have
drawer.
Zender Split. I have the Cyclops.
Yeah. So, but Lowry got, what was it? 6.
I got 6
flips in a row.
Yeah, on my side, and that was. He was huge.
It was crazy.
Like, can you stop like a 400?
Yeah, it was insane. And I was like, we had that. I think we would have won that game because I had enough removal and all that stuff.
You drew 6 cards. Yeah. Because that was one of those times. Because we were playing, I was red-green. I'd play the Cyclops legend that went and got Adam the Zender Split Homunculus, and then he just
split.
and then he just plays his right off the bat, and then we're just flipping tons of coins.
Yeah.
And that was pretty sweet.
It was pretty cool. I was surprised how many times you got. And Lowry got all these flips, and then every time I did my flip, I never got it. Like, it was just like, all right, I'm doing the same thing, because we rolled the dice so it would go quicker instead of we did odd and even. And Lowry called it even, and I was like, okay, I'll call even too. And then I roll it odd, and then every turn odd. I'm like, maybe I should change it. No, I got to stick with it. Odd. And I was like, God damn it!
You're an awful roller. I don't know how, but don't go to Vegas.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So then round 2, we played my neighbor and his son, actually.
Yeah, and the game took a full hour. Like,
we came up to the time limit of your turns, 5 turns left.
Yeah.
But that went crazy too, because we had pretty good control that whole game. Not whole game.
I wasn't worried about it.
But the part that got worrisome is Lowry flipped 9 times in a row.
No. It was 7 times in a row, and then you drew, and then you did 1.
So
no, you drew
I
8.
drew 10 total. I thought you had 9 in a row.
Well, that was the second time though. We did it 6 times, and then you won 1.
Yeah.
And so you drew 7, and then next turn I won 9 times in a row, and then you won another 1.
So I got 10. So I leaned over to Lowry. I was like, we can't do this anymore because it doesn't say you may, I must, and we're playing a 40 card deck. This is gonna kill me. So it actually went down to,
you had no cards in hand.
I had to use Diabolic Intent to kill it, so I didn't flip, because I would have probably freaking died. And then I searched for the 1 card that I had left, drew it, and then we ended up winning. We rolled them with 25 attacking or whatever.
You played Zender Splits, doubling one of our creatures, and they had to bounce their creatures.
Yeah.
And then they were at like 8, but we ended up having like 20 points of damage we could attack with at the end of there.
That was pretty sweet. I liked it, but man, when you got that 10 in a row, I was like, oh man, I hope no one knows what's going on, because they actually figured it out. They actually made me draw 2 cards.
So they had you draw you drew 2 cards, 2 life, then you Diabolic Intended, and that was the last card in your library.
Oh man. That was just but that was fun. That was a good game. And then we get into the third match,
And I got mana and color screwed.
Yeah, he just drew only red. You didn't draw a color until after the game was over.
Yeah, I think I started with 2 mountains in my hand, and then I discarded like 4 cards.
Yeah.
Until I started drawing a couple land. I ended up, at the end of the game, I had 5 red, and I had played no cards.
The cool thing, the only cool thing out of that match is you were able to help me with assist.
Assist was really nice in that regard.
Because he wasn't going to cast anything anyway, so he's just like, all right, here you go. So anyways, we lost to that because then they also had hexproof stuff, so I couldn't touch that.
Yeah, so that really hurt the removal base.
Yeah.
Because they were, yeah.
What did we learn? What did we discussed after the match? I think we kind of, like we said earlier, is with
the color and mana screw, it ends up making the game like 2-on-1.
Yeah,
and that's a big deal. Like you need to make sure that if anybody stumbles, basically the game's gonna end up getting pretty lopsided. I feel.
Yeah, and one thing we thought was maybe we go monocolor, but I think that limits you to what you can do.
2-color is fine.
Yeah, I think what we needed to do different, although it was mono-screwed, that's the part that's frustrating.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, we needed to build more like we build for pre-release, where you're creature heavy and quite a few spot removals and whatever. And we had one person doing their certain thing and then me doing my certain thing, whereas if we were both balanced, it wouldn't have been as dramatic when one of us wasn't working as well. You know what I'm saying?
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, it might have been still screwed with being screwed for color and stuff, but
I think assist really helped. Like, assist as a mechanic in Two-Headed Giant works really well when somebody gets screwed, but I don't think it helps enough to like balance it out.
Yeah.
Like, it was brutal when basically one person wasn't playing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I had, I don't know, I think there was less than 10 creatures in my deck, and then you weren't doing anything. Yeah. So there was no.
They were just like, well, I'm gonna attack. And we're like, well, you get through.
Yeah. And then when it was the other way around, when Lowry was playing creatures and I wasn't able to kill anything or play anything, it was just like, well, you're outnumbered. Like there was nothing you could do.
Yeah. So that was a big thing. Like we had said before, 30 life just isn't that much compared to 20. Like you would think that the games do last longer, but it's pretty valuable. It can go away pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But overall, had a good time.
I think we had. Yeah,
I want to do it again. I mean, I kind of want to do it again with Battlebond. You know, because I like the assist stuff. I like how stuff like making your partner draw a card. You know, just all the stuff that works together. It's so together.
I think it's a really well done set.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot of fun, and I think a lot of people, if you haven't tried it, I'd highly suggest it. And the cards are pretty high value compared to other sets. Like we were saying, we opened the box here, and we were both very happy with the box opening.
This is one of the best boxes for a price of what we paid for it and everything out of anything that we've opened, really, to be double up or almost
Adam
double.
got as much value in his Battlebond deck as I did in my Masters 25 deck. To whereas we paid double for the Masters 25.
Well, now you're spoiling what happened.
I did a little bit. Cut this and then we'll be fine.
That doesn't mean that I won necessarily, because
I could have tripled.
Yeah, exactly.
My Masters 25 box.
Then you
very possible.
You wouldn't use you as an example. I'm going to talk about the person that did less and be underwhelming instead of going with.
You're on to me.
Yeah. But yeah, overall it was a lot of fun. I think we're going to do that again. That was a good time.
Yeah, it was really cool. So
let's move on to segment 2, the dark.
How about we just call it segment 2 and make sure that it's always segment 2 when we do this kind of thing?
So I can label it that.
Yeah.
People that have never listened to the podcast, like, what the hell is segment 2? Why did
Battlebond discussion segment 2 Smiths? What's wrong with that?
Is that like number 2? I don't know. That was stupid. All right.
Poop jokes. That's what we're at again.
Why don't we, Lowry, start us off with our first card?
So one card that I really like is Ashes to Ashes, which is from the dark. Sorcery, 1 colorless and 2 black. And what it does is you target 2 creatures I believe they're non-black.
2 creatures, non-artifact.
Non-artifact. You pay 5 life and you exile those creatures.
Yeah.
That's pretty good value for 3 mana. You're exiling, which black doesn't do a whole ton of. And so I think it's pretty great value. And in Commander, 5 life isn't that much.
Yeah.
It's just as good as
chump change right there.
Like a Sylvan Library draw. I'd almost rather be
to get around indestructibility and all that. That's pretty good, and it's 2 creatures, like you said.
Yeah, that's 2 creatures.
Pretty badass.
So I would suggest it's a pretty dang good.
30 cents.
30 cents.
Go for it.
It has been reprinted a bit, but I would buy the if you're trying to debate between 25 cents from 7th edition or the dark at 33.
Yeah,
go with the dark.
Yeah.
Trust me.
The next one. Oh man, how do you say this? Let me try it. All right, let's see. Whippoorwill. Whippoorwill. All right, this is 1, and it's a 1/1. I don't understand why it's not flying. It's a bird.
No, it's a whippoorwill.
It's a whippoorwill. It's flying. In this picture, it's above the trees. Why? I
think it's hanging out on a branch. And its wings are spread out so you couldn't see it.
That's how its mating call. It's like whippoorwill, whippoorwill. That's all right.
That's dang close. I'm turned on. I don't know about you.
Going back to something. Did you catch that in my song about how I was getting? What did I say? Something in my nethers.
I missed that.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, never mind. Listen to the song again when you listen to podcasts. It's I talk about how I get excited. Anyways. It's late. We did the Battlebond boxes. I freaking had soccer earlier today. I'm exhausted. 2 green and tap it until end of turn. Target creature may not regenerate. And damage done to that creature may not be prevented or redirected. If that target creature goes to the graveyard, remove it from the game. So it can basically get rid of something that's dying, going to the graveyard, and it gets rid of regenerate. Although we don't see a lot of that with cards
as much anymore.
Yeah.
One thing that I was thinking, I really like this card as a hate card. It's not necessarily graveyard hate. But if somebody's kind of going infinite with Kitchen Finks or Murderous Redcap, you can actually as it's dying, you kind of target it and it just gets removed, so the combo kind of fizzles there.
Still doesn't make sense. Why does it not have flying? What the hell? It's a goddamn bird.
There's so much text on this, they couldn't add flying. Or else it'd be way too much.
Yeah, if you could scroll up, there's probably flying up there.
Yes.
All right, so then we move on to our next card. I believe that's on you, Lowry. Barl's Cage, right? Barl's
Cage. 4 mana artifact. You can tap 3, and target creature does not untap as normal during its controller's next untap step.
It's nice as you can actually do this multiple times.
True, yeah. So you can pay 3, and so if somebody's attacking, you just 3.
Yeah,
and you just pay 12 mana, tap down 4 creatures
that stay tapped, which is pretty nice.
It doesn't tap it.
That would be the nice thing if you could actually tap it. That would be that much better. But yeah, that's a pretty decent card. I don't have this and I haven't seen it played, but I might pick up a copy because it's. Oh, by the way, the other card that damn bird that doesn't frickin' fly, 35 cents.
So mad at it.
This one's at you could probably get it for 50 cents, so it's still a pretty damn cheap card. Next one this is kind of interesting. I remember this card back in the day. Tivadar's Crusade. Dang it.
Sorry.
Wasn't even close. 1 colorless, 2 blue. It's a white card. It's 1 colorless and 2 blue. It's that.
Yeah. It's a white card.
Well, it's like that. What is that Jinn or that Ifrit that has the blue casting in it, and it's a green card or whatever.
Green border with blue.
Yeah, where it's a blue casting cost. Yeah. Anyways, that's an old school card, but This is 1 and 2 white sorcery. All goblins are destroyed. So it's
so if you hate that Krenko player,
yeah, is that a hint to Mike?
Just have it in there and be like, boop.
It is very specific. So I mean, but this one's about 60 cents.
Basically, bring it in for hate against anybody that's like, I'm gonna play my goblin deck. And
okay, like, I'm gonna play
bring it, dork.
Bring it, dork.
Next one that we want to mention is Skull of Orm, which is an artifact for 3 colorless, and then you can pay 5, tap it, bring 1 enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand.
This is a pretty decent card. Being able to bring enchantments back, I actually really like that.
The 5 is
it's a
little tough.
Yeah.
So it better be like a cheap enchantment.
I would think this would be more of an enchantment based deck. You would have this more in there, but yeah, it's interesting. It'd be nice if you didn't tap it, but still 5. You're not going to do it more than once a turn.
It's potential card draw if you're like a mono white enchantment style deck.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be all right in that.
And this one 60-70 cents, so it's another cheap card. The next one I think is probably my favorite out of this whole thing. It's Gaea's Touch, and it's 2 green, and it's an enchantment. You may put 1 additional land into play during each of your turns, but that land must be a basic forest. So you're mainly going to be playing this in green.
Mono green.
Yeah. You may sacrifice Gaea's Touch at any time to add 2 green to your mana pool. Play this ability as an interrupt. So yeah, this is, you pay the 2. You can sack the 2 right there. Sack it if you wanted to get your 2 back, but you're not.
Yeah.
Play your extra land and then sack
it. A couple extra land, do it.
But save that for when you need it later down on the road. But also, it's giving you a chance to play another forest each of your turns if you're playing a mono green. Even if you're playing a 2-color card or deck, and you have enough.
And if you play a lot of basics, that's probably well worth it.
Yeah.
And just again ramping. So if you go turn 2. Gaea's Touch with another forest puts you to 3, and then the next turn you go land, sacrifice it. You're at 7 mana on turn 3.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a nice
that could be potentially really fast.
It's kind of like a Omnath's being able to save it in your mana pool in a way. Kind of, sort of. We're gonna move on to the next card.
We're working real hard at making these playable sometimes. But no, Gaea's Touch, I've actually played in mono green decks.
Yep, I have that as well. 75 cents for that bad boy.
Next one that we want to talk about is Ragman. It is 2/1, 2 colorless, 2 black creature. You can pay 3 black mana and tap it. Look at an opponent's hand. If opponent has any creature cards in hand, he or she discards one of them at random. It can be only used during your turn. And so if you have a discard style deck, I think this would work.
Yeah, it's nice that you can keep. Well, it's at random.
Random, you don't get to choose it, but random can be brutal as well.
Yeah, we're talking ourselves out of it.
Let's keep this at segment 2.
Yeah, that segment, which stands for "These are shitty cards."
We're trying. This has been reprinted as it's a rare in like 7th edition, I believe, or 8th edition.
I think we are going to keep this as segment 2 because it just stands for shit. Because we're really trying on getting these.
Because we're going under $5 pretty much.
Because a lot of the dark is actually, the good ones have spiked already. People are targeting the dark, and that we started here because if you go further forward, you got Legends and Arabian Nights. Those all are freaking.
Yeah, we can't talk about.
Yeah, it's like
we'd be talking about.
Go get a basic. Nope,
bird,
they didn't. I don't even think they had.
Maiden.
Yeah.
You can't even talk about like a basic
Moss Monster.
Moss Monster. Oh my god!
You remember that one? I loved that one. It's a 3/6. I don't remember how much it costs, but it's green.
If we want to talk about Arabian Night Mountain, that's like $150. Like, it's pointless to talk about these. So we're starting at the dark, and we're going to move forward. So I hope you guys look forward to Homelands and Fallen Empires coming soon.
Or just skip that episode. We
can call those both segment 2 as well.
Yeah, segment. I think we're going to call it segment 2. Oh, man. Oh. Well, Fallen Empires, you could get 2 cards in there, and that's about it. That's the only thing in it.
We've already talked about
Yeah,
them.
I know we did. All right.
Over $5.
The next card is Witch Hunter. It is 2 colors, 2 white. Tap Witch Hunter does 1 damage to target player. Tap 3, or let me rephrase that. 1 colorless, 2 white. Tap it. Return target creature opponent controls from play to owner's hand. Enchantments on that creature are destroyed. So it's a bounce, basically, is what this card does. And
white bounce isn't a bad thing. This was reprinted in Chronicles, but again, by the dark, that has the potential, at least, to go up a little bit more. I'm
gonna do an honorable mention because we talked about it when we went by it, but Mana Clash is another one, just only because of the coin flip craze right now, and I'm saying it is craze because all the stuff that I have bought or the specs that I've talked about, they're all selling like crazy right now. So if you wanted to get the Mana Clash Dark, which is the original one, I would go for this one. Maybe buy a couple of these because they're under $1 or around $1 right now. So if you wanted to get that, but that wasn't part of our original list. But I'm just saying this is going to be really close because, or not close. You're going to have to sell this
cards that I thought were good too.
No,
without discussing it with you.
I'm saying that like if somebody's listening to this podcast like months down the road, this is probably gonna be a shit card because it's only gonna go for it's gonna go now. And then when the craze is done, it's done. So if you wanted to jump in on it, go for it. Anyways, next card.
So the next one that me and Adam discussed before this that we agreed that we would talk about.
Segment 2.
is Safe Haven. It's a land. You can tap it, remove target creature you control from the game. This ability is played as an interrupt. During your upkeep, sacrifice Safe Haven to return all creatures it has removed from the game directly into play. Treat this as if they were just summoned. So why the heck would we want to do this?
Yeah, I'm like listening to you talk about it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it doesn't give you the option. You have to sacrifice at the beginning of your upkeep, don't you? That's what I'm reading. We need to edit this damn thing out. It's stupid. It's like we didn't go through this list at all.
We did this like a month ago.
Yeah,
and we keep on putting it on.
Yeah. This might be the last time we do this. Oh, this is not a good card. Remove target creature control from the game. This ability is played at interrupt. Turn your upkeep, sacrifice. So it's just. So here's my question. Let's discuss this card really quick. If you don't do that, you bring this card out into play and you don't do that ability, you sacrifice it at the beginning of your upkeep next turn, don't you? Or does that ability have to happen? You know what I'm saying? Remove target creature. Does that have to happen?
Delayed effect.
Because otherwise, this is shit. Why is it even over $1 right now?
So what you could be doing with it is
I'm going to go on Gatherer really quick.
That's what I'm doing right now.
You discuss what you think.
So the way that I can the crappy thing is this doesn't tap for land, so that makes it really bad. But you can save a creature from mass removal or removal of some type that you want to have around. So that's about the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, but if you have to sacrifice...
At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice Safe Haven.
Oh, okay. They changed the wording. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you do... Okay. Okay. This one's better. Our segment is saved. Hooray!
So actually what...
that was the thought I had of this card, is why I originally put it on the list. I was like, your guy's dying, you just throw him in the safe haven, and then eventually you sacrifice it, and you get them all back.
We might lose some listens this time. So, like, the card that I would actually use this with is it's just like a different version for, like, Yasova, which is, like, you can pay 2 red or blue and a colorless to steal a creature. Mm-hmm. So like a steal creature from your opponent's deck, and then you can just
sack it,
hide
or
it away.
Kill it.
Yeah, you're essentially killing it for 2 or like 3 mana.
Yeah,
2, because Safe Haven doesn't tap for mana. God, that's awful.
Yeah. Well, it's not. I mean, that was the reason why I put it in. But then when you were reading the card and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it's making you sacrifice. This is the stupidest card I've ever seen. I'm going to say that I originally looked at it and it was on Gatherer, and that's how I figured out to put that on the list.
Yeah, no, that was a good idea. You should have probably known that was going to
Jeez. All right. Oh man, I don't want to read this one. Okay, so our next one is Dance of Many.
I could do this one.
Well, we can. Well, this one it's just making the clone, right? It's tap 2, you make a clone, but each upkeep you have to tap 2 to keep it alive, right? That's what it is. So tap 2, it's an enchantment. You clone something that's in place, so it's a lot cheaper than any clone that's out there. The only thing it has is at the beginning of your upkeep you have to pay 2, otherwise it dies. So that's pretty good.
And
it's
the clone
a cheap
is
ass
a
clone.
token.
Yeah.
So there is an enchantment and a token. The token is a copy of whatever you want, and then, So, and if the token dies, the enchantment goes away. If the enchantment dies, the token goes away. But yeah, there's a lot of words for
clone
for 2 blue.
Crap ton of words if you look, and it's a bunch of damn seahorses.
So like, Whippoorwill could have had flying in its text because they made Dance of the Many so small.
Exactly.
What were they thinking? Whippoorwill definitely should have had flying.
And these damn seahorses have wings, although that's underwater. So that's probably what's going on there.
I don't know if they're seahorses.
Those look like seahorses. Why did my voice get so high pitched there?
You're excited. We're having toast.
Well, you go back to the toast.
Because I knew you got excited about toast.
I did not get excited about having toast.
Last week you got excited about toast.
That's because I didn't want to puke. And by the way, didn't puke, knock on wood.
Congrats. I didn't get sick. And we didn't get grounded. So
Oh yeah. You're well, there was a bubble in my throat. You're still here. Is what that
I am still here. I apologize to my wife the first instant I got.
But isn't she like an episode behind? So she wouldn't have known for a couple.
She
wouldn't have caught it for a couple weeks. Our wives have fallen off. They used to listen.
They were very supportive for about 4 episodes.
Yeah, and now they're like,
I don't. It could have been more, but yeah, I apologized right away because I don't think what I said was right, and I knew that I was. It was not right. I did not like it. I felt pretty bad for a while. So right off the bat, when I was able to talk with her, I apologized,
Larry.
and that's what you should do.
You?
Yeah, she did. She wasn't mad.
Yeah. I don't remember what all was said anymore.
I don't. I blank it all out. Just about. I remember about 2% of this podcast. That's why it's a surprise to me every time I listen to it.
It's like listening to a brand like somebody else's podcast.
Oh, it's like good.
It's like our next card.
Amnesia. Oh, shit. Yeah. So okay, it's a sorcery from the dark. 3 colorless and 3 blue. Look at target player's hand. Target player discards all non-land cards in his or her hand. So if you looked at their hand, there was no point because they're discarding everything that's
I think it just wants to make sure that they're discarding it. Yeah.
They should just discard the entire
They should
hand.
just show their hand and be like, here's the land card.
So this is kind of crazy for like in mono blue, and it's very blue with 3 blue mana.
But discarding their whole hand, if that's... But it's late game. It's 6 mana for that. But
yeah,
it's $1.
It could it's $1. It's it could be really well worth it if you're mono blue.
Yeah,
I would not.
You don't see a lot of discarding their whole hand and not having any other benefit very often.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think
they
off
don't
the
even
top
have
of my
a
head.
lot of like target player discards all their hand in black.
Yeah,
that just doesn't happen much.
Normally, it's you discard your hand and you draw more cards equal to blah blah blah.
I think in black, black will have like 2 black and X, and target player discards that many cards. Yeah. That's more like it, but like 6
for a blue.
For blue,
yeah,
that's kind of.
It's interesting. It might be worth $1.50 to buy. Next is Dust
Much
to Dust.
Much better than the Safe Haven.
Safe Haven in the way I thought it was as you were reading it, because that was really, really shitty, and I'm glad that turned around.
Why is this $1?
Because we would have just quit right now and just been done with the podcast.
CommanderSmiths.
You read it, and I just sat there, and I didn't know what to say.
It was from your list.
I know that's on my side. I was like, why did I put this on there? It's like I didn't actually read it, I guess. All right, Dust to Dust. I'm
having a lot of fun this episode.
1 and 2 white. Remove 2 target artifacts from the game. That's pretty sweet. Commander players, you have artifacts. We have Soul Rings. We have Sensei Tops. We have, Swift with Boots. You have Lightning Greaves.
Artifact
boom,
heavy,
boom, they're gone.
In artifact-heavy decks, you have Darksteel Forge, which makes all artifacts indestructible. And so you can get rid of that and the other best artifact on the table. It doesn't even have to be to just one player. You can split it up to wherever you need to do it.
Yeah.
It's, it's quite good for 3 mana.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be nice if it was an instant, but hey, sorcery removing 2 things from the game, they don't have to be brought back.
Let's just make cards.
Yeah, let's make the dark
this better.
We're gonna make the dark better.
One white instant.
So safe haven. Safe haven is now you can tap 1 colorless. It can be 1 colorless.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be a lot better.
That would be all right. But instead, I got to play Chromatic Lantern to get any value out of the land.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, next on to our artifact. We have 2 artifacts left here. Not that is our only artifacts, but this is a weird looking sphere.
It's a dark sphere.
Whoa, scary.
So it's 0 mana artifact. You can tap it, sacrifice dark sphere to prevent half of the damage done to you by a single source, rounded down. So this is, if somebody's going Voltron, this would slow them down. Or if they're like infinite mana into a Banefire, you can
at least prevent half of it.
Yeah, or half that damage. Rounded down.
$2.50.
Yeah, and
it wasn't printed again,
free.
was it?
It's free. I don't believe so. Not
Yeah.
off the top of my head. So I think that's.
Yeah, it's a nice little.
And that, as being an
little
artifact,
egg
it
to
can
come out
go
there.
in like white is the deck that kind of prevents damage, but this can go into other colors that could maybe need it.
And then into our other egg, another artifact, Tormod's Crypt. Now this one's been printed a couple of times, but this I would go for the darks of these.
Well, actually, yeah, I think because Tormod's Crypt does get used in standard, sometimes in modern, not often in modern, but when they reprint it in standard, this would probably be the version that you would want to go get.
Yeah, and I like the art of this one. But anyways, it's
Better
tap
than
and sacrifice, remove all cards in target player's graveyard from the game, and it's a 0 casting cost, so it's pretty damn sweet.
And yeah, that's
$2.50.
I'm actually going to go off script here too. There's one that I really like that I wanted to add in. It is called Bone Flute. It's a 3 mana artifact.
That's a terrible, terrible card.
3 mana artifact. That,
of course, you went for the Bone Flute. Is there really Bone Flute on here?
I'm pretty sure.
I remember. I think I know the picture you're talking about. Did you just? Yeah, there is a Bone Flute.
It's 3 mana artifact. Tap 2, tap it. All creatures get -1/-0. It basically makes all of your creatures flaccid. So
yeah, it's a stupid card.
It's an awesome name though.
It's in the shape. Well, you know what it looks like.
It's a Bone Flute. What else do you want it to be?
Well, I was about to go into my grandpa, not your grandpa, on my mom's side.
Oh, okay.
He has a buffalo dick cane. This looks like a buffalo dick cane, and he always would go around to restaurants with his cane and be like, "You want to touch my dick?"
Are you serious?
Just to like the waitresses. My grandpa's like,
you're lucky your grandpa wasn't famous.
Yeah,
be in the Me Too movement.
Yeah. Want to touch my dick? It's my buffalo
it's
dick.
Not his dick.
So it's like stretched out and like hardened. It's really freaking.
I'm not sure if I want to know about that.
Well, you know what it looks like? The Bone Flute.
So if you want to know what a buffalo penis cane dick looks
instead of Googling, you can just go to look at what the Bone Flute looks like.
Bone Flute. And then you got it.
Pretty much what it is.
Blue waffle.
All right. Oh, gross. Why did you...
I thought we were looking things up.
2 Girls, 1 Cup.
No.
Did we just go back to like 2007? I don't remember when
I hope they took all of this down the internet.
All right. We're moving into Smith Specs of the Week. You start off.
Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about is Defiant Bloodlord. Essentially, my specs this week are going to be based off of Regina and Krav, the black and white partner commanders from Battlebond.
Pissed on commanders.
Yeah, and so I was, the ones that I think that are really powerful in that deck that can kind of work. So there's Defiant Bloodlord, which is a vampire, 4/5 flyer. It's 5 colorless, 2 black. Whenever you gain life, an opponent loses that much life. And so
very similar to, is it Sanguine Bond?
Sanguine Bond, which is an enchantment for 3 colorless and 2 black. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses life. And so I would suggest the foils for each.
There's a couple cool, you got some different different art you could get with these, and they're all under $1, which is pretty nice.
They're cheap. I think but they are just powerful in my mind.
Yeah.
With Krav, you can pay a black, sacrifice X amount of creatures, then you gain X amount of life and draw X amount of cards.
Yeah, and not only with Krav, it's a vampire, so it fits with Mr. Edric right there, which...
Yeah, Defiant Bloodlord fits in vampire decks, and I think it can go in a bunch of different style of decks, but it's just something that kind of stuck out to me.
Man, I like the art of...
The promo one?
Yeah, that one looks pretty sweet. And it's cheaper. It's about $1 cheaper than if you got the...
Pre-release FOMO?
Yeah. FOMO?
Fear of missing out. Get it!
It's the pre-release FOMO. Oh, what's happening? I gotta be a part of this. Anyways, next card for me, or my first card, is Etali. I've actually had this one on my list for a while, and then this week I actually pulled the trigger on it because... I'm actually going to put this in my flip coin deck that I'm going to build, the Piston Commander I have. But Etali Primal Storm, and it's from Rivals of Ixalan. This one is, you can get right around $10, or I think I pulled mine for 10 or sub 10, like right around there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just such a good card for red.
Oh, it gets you a ton of card advantage.
Because you don't even have to pay the mana cost. The only thing is if you get the land. So basically what it does, I'll tell it really quick. 4 colors, 2 red, legendary creature. So this could be your legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, but it could be your commander. 6/6, whenever he attacks, you exile the top card of each player's library, which that includes you, and you can cast those for free, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it can be random, but you could even set it up. I mean, if it's mono red, then it's going to be a little tougher to stack the top of your deck. But, you know, if you had Sensei's Divining Top, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, that's a good point. So,
and then attacking multiple times gets you a ton of advantage. I've built with this card at this point.
Have you actually built a deck with it?
Not with it. I have it in my... Ramos Dragon Engine deck.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So it allows me to play other spells.
And when we were talking before the podcast, you had mentioned that a lot of the dinosaurs are kind of starting to get...
People like them because they're powerful.
Yeah, they are pretty
sweet. The black
sweet.
One's impossible to play with as your commander.
Yeah. Because it has to be in your hand, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of ridiculous.
And have it die, play it, die, go to the graveyard, bring it back to your hand somehow, and then you can start getting value off of it.
But in your 99, it'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think that's solid.
All right, Larry, your next one.
My next one is Sun Droplet.
I love this card. I've used this so much.
And it's great. If you're in a 4, so it's a 2-mana artifact. Whenever you're dealt damage, you put counters on it. So as much damage as you're dealt, like if it's 8, you put 8 counters on it during each upkeep. So each opponent plus yours, you get to gain. You remove a counter and you gain a life. And so you're always gaining life. And let's say there's 4 people playing. If somebody hits you for 8 damage,
you gain half of it back by the time you get back to your turn.
Exactly.
I'm super surprised because we looked at the EDH rec with this that only 1,000 decks are using this. It should be a lot more than that in EDH. But the thing is these are older cards. Sometimes they just, like I said earlier, some players don't know about them.
It has a couple of commander, but. The reason why I thought this was really good was because Regina, the white version of the partner, that every time at your end step, if you gain life that turn, you put 2 1/1 white warriors into play. Mm-hmm. So you're almost always guaranteed to get those 1/1 warriors if Regina's in play.
Oh, yeah.
And so if there are 4 players in... You'll have 8 by the time.
So that's at the end of each upkeep.
Each upkeep.
Oh, that is pretty sweet. That is really nice.
You can get ahead pretty quick with Sun Droplet on the board.
Yeah, and she's sitting around $7, and for the foils,
version, the
you can get the others for $1.
Yeah.
So
either way, I'd go for it, but I think
with the only
has
one printing of foil, I would probably maybe target the foils because there's 3 other printings and. They're $1, so they'd all have to go up pretty quick, or not quick, but you know what I'm saying. This will probably jump more than the others.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like this card in general because I have 4 of those regular, but I might actually go pick up the foils. The next one kind of has to do with kind of what I'm building with I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my coin flip deck, and this kind of caught my eye. And there was another podcast. It was a couple months back had mentioned this one, so I actually had it written down, and then when I was building my deck, I kind of struck it again. But it's a Metallurgic Summonings, and it's a 3 colors, 2 blue enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, create an XX colorless construct artifact creature token, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. And then you may tap 3 and 2 colorless, exile this, and return all instant and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only if you control 6 or more artifacts. So one thing you had mentioned is that this is going...
Yeah, this is a standard card, and it will be rotating in the fall.
So it may drop, but foils don't really take a hit to standard because a lot of standard players don't necessarily play with foils as much as Commander and Modern.
I just look at it as a general rule. If a card's about to rotate, I try and not get a hold of anything for like 4 or 5 months out.
Yeah.
If it's about to rotate, but like Etali, the Elder Dragon, like that's so far out. It's kind of, it's hard to say. Like it could just skyrocket and find a home within that, in the year and a half before it's going to be rotating. I guess, year and a half at this point.
Yeah.
There's no point in waiting on that one. But in my mind, with Summonings here, it's rotating in the fall. I would wait until rotation.
Yeah, it's in 4,000. What did I say it was?
4,500.
4,500 EDH deck, so it is used quite a bit for being a new card, and it's about, I can get it for $4. I haven't pulled the trigger on buying it. I'm just actually waiting for one of my buy list orders to go through, and then I was going to pick up my playset or whatever of this one. This one's just, I like it a lot, and I've put it in my Rashmi deck. It goes into any of the decks that I start using, instants and sorceries with it. Because, I mean, that's, even if you don't do its bottom ability, you don't get the 7, which you typically have a lot of artifacts when you're playing blue and all that stuff. But
yeah, like I use it in my Talran deck.
Being able to cast an instant and then also have your instant or sorcery do its ability, and then you're also getting a creature out of it too, which is pretty awesome.
No, I think this card is fantastic. The other thing that I should say about rotation is I think you can get this card for $4, and I think it'll go beyond that eventually. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking about where it's going to be.
Might be a longer hold. But the part I was thinking is I'm trying to figure out if there are any other coin flip stuff. I think we've got all this, the stuff that's spiked is the ones that are going to spike for coin flipping. Yeah. But sometimes the sub ones, like cards that work with it as well, but aren't as obvious, will spike. And that's kind of where I was going with that, because people might try to turn those decks, because there was such a limited amount of coin flip cards.
You got to do something else with them.
You can't just go these 5 coin flip things, and because there's a lot of shitty coin flip cards. There's some good ones, but it's only, I'm serious, like a handful that are actually like really good. So you got to have a alternate route with that, and most of these people are trying to build commander decks. So, Lowry, your next one.
The next one and my last one goes with Krav, like fantastically, but Alhammarrets Archive, which is a 5-mana artifact, legendary artifact. If you would gain life, you gain twice as much life. And then if you would draw a card beyond your first one, you draw twice as many cards.
Yeah, I like this card.
So with Krav, you're sacrificing that many creatures. You're gaining that much life. So let's say you sacrifice 4 creatures. You gain 4 life. With the archive out, you gain 8 life. You draw 4 cards. With the archive out, you draw 8 cards. It just basically doubles his ability, which is already a pretty powerful ability.
Yeah, now, so this one's at $9, and
regular is a $9. The foil's $18.
Yeah, so
I think they're both worth buying.
Yeah,
because they have just been going up either way without Krav, and so Krav, these two might not move the meter or have cards like going ridiculous, but these are already pretty powerful cards that can work in a lot of decks.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like that card a lot, actually. I think I have it in my draw deck, and it's in 9,000 EDH deck, so this is a used card. Yep. My last spec is kind of weird. This is more of a kind of a discussion between Lowry and I, and talking about stuff is, and this is going to be expensive, but the reserve list original dual lands revised dual lands specifically, because we don't have that deep of pockets to be able to buy the other ones. they have been just on the rise because, like we were talking about before, the reserve list, it's been targeted. Everything's going up. Everything that we invested in a little less than a year ago has gone skyrocketing.
Yeah, a ton more.
Now, the dual lands lately have been going up more than anything with all the
Which
reserve
is crazy.
list stuff.
Like when we talked about like Underground Sea,
and that was
back on episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, just a few episodes ago.
So it was
beginning.
It was 14 episodes ago at this point.
Yeah.
So that's what 4, 8, 12, 3.5, 4 months ago. Underground Sea was right around 300 to 400.
It's 800 right now.
Yeah. And so it's crazy to think about when it comes to, do you invest in that?
Yeah, and that's the hard part but here's the more of what I'm, and this also comes from another podcast. I listen to a bunch of other Magic podcasts.
I don't.
And so they brought it up. Well, not brought it up. They were talking about it, but their picks that they've been doing lately have been certain dual lands and all that, like actually going after Underground Sea, thinking it's going to go over 1,000 within the next year, not even the year or whatever.
And
I'm more focused
right at this point.
If you have some extra dough that you want to throw at something, go for the ones that are really cheap, because even those jumped $100 in the last 3 months. And you used to be able to get bad lands for $50, $60. Now they're 180, 160.
And so like that, you asked me the question though, like, you don't have an Underground Sea, would you go and get it at 800? I'm like, no.
Yeah, because you wouldn't.
No,
you
I
weren't
wasn't going to go after
to 300 yet.
And so it just depends on what you're comfortable with.
But they're the only thing. Well, not only thing, but they're so consistently going up. It's just insane.
They're the most in-demand cards in this game.
Yeah, and if you look at the top of the reserve list, you have your Power 9, whatever, all that stuff in there.
I don't think they're as in demand.
Yeah, the Moxes and all that stuff, but you can't use those in EDH. So
other than Vintage.
Yeah, and
that's
so
the only place you can use Power 9 basically.
The next step is what? Dual lands is the next one down, like the cheapest. Well, I guess I could pull that up.
What do you mean? What are the next cheapest cards?
Yeah, I mean,
most expensive.
Most expensive out of the top tier stuff. They're the next ones
Power
down.
9. Yeah, I mean at this point probably.
All right, so if we pull up Black Lotus, let's start from our reserve list top, and you work your way down. You got your Moxes and your Time Walk, and then you hit. Basically, Underground Sea. It's at 865 right now. I'm not saying necessarily go for Underground Sea. If you have the extra money, go for it, because it's going to just keep going up. But I'm more focused on the duels, because the duels are equally used in EDH. Like, the reason Underground Sea is used more is because of what is it? Legacy or Vintage that it's used in.
Both.
Yeah, so that's used more than the other duels, whereas that's why those other duels are so cheap. Well, EDH is a pretty freaking big, like we've talked, this is their cash cow in a way, because the EDH players keep buying these commander sets and keep buying cards, making these cards go up. And I feel like that's what's driving these to go up right now. And it's only a matter of time before you see the crappy ones. I wouldn't say crappy. They're just as good as the cheaper cards, but they're just as good as Underground Sea that are sub 200 that are going to get up to 500 or 800 or $1,000 within the next year, 2 years. Like, that's how fast these are going up. It's the fastest rise. It's insane. Let's see, we got Tundra at 333. So it doesn't look big on the graph, but if you're looking from April, was at 226 and now it's at 333. So that's $100 profit right there. It's
blowing my mind right now. So I don't know.
It's just a thought I kind of was thinking about today. I was like, I've just sent in a whole bunch of cards to Card Kingdom. I'm going to have 150, 160 bucks. Do I just go, all right, I'm going to pick up one Badlands? You know, it's like almost guaranteed that I'm going to make profit off of it.
I mean, I think you have that's that extra cash thing, and that's probably worth it.
Yeah. But so that was just kind of, I wanted to discuss about it because it
pointed out.
Yeah.
Get your dual lands now, everybody.
I mean, it's
going ridiculous.
We don't know who the listeners are, or what kind of financing they have, but if you had the finance, instead of like necessarily, this is like a stock market. I mean, it is how everything up and down. It's kind of like, it's a little mini stock market. So if you had the funds to be able to be like, all right, for example, I'm going to put it into Netflix or Amazon. You know, you had to spend a bunch more money to put it in Amazon right now, but that's going up or whatever. That's kind of the same thing here in a way, not necessarily.
Yeah. So the only problem that you end up having is there are two problems with the Magic stock market, the Magic market, I guess. It would be like if your player base starts going away,
which that hasn't.
Which, I mean, it's only been growing at this point. They've been doing a really good job, even though there's a lot to complain about. But they do a general pretty good job of retaining players. Second thing would be is if they just go out of business.
Yeah.
And the game, if the game dies, essentially, then the cards go away.
I guess what they're, I don't even speculate
mind.
with that. I was going to say, I heard from another podcast, I don't remember which one it was, but they said the closest they came to going out of business was back with Homelands. So that was
they blamed Chronicles on that.
Yeah.
And that's when the reserve list kind of came out, because they were people were pissed that they spent a ton of money and then they went out and reprinted cards and everything got super cheap.
Yeah.
The people got pissed. That's why a reserve list is here, is to give protection to cards to not be reprinted.
Now I'm curious to see what happened with Battlebond here and how well this sells, because Dominaria kind of blew everything away with the amount of sales and everything they did.
Mm-hmm.
Dominaria. Battlebond, the dual lands, in my opinion, is, I feel like, a big drive of how this set could actually sell a lot. Because those are built for Commander.
They're really good in Commander, yeah.
Like, you're most of the time going to be playing against 2 or more people. So, and I guess, so you know, we talked about that we were calling them crowd lands, or I heard that too.
Sure, yeah.
I guess Magic specifically wants them called bond lands.
That's weird.
I know. James Bond. Because the battle lands are already used from Battle for Zendikar, so they can't use those. So they want bond lands.
I don't know. That doesn't really...
I know. But that's what Magic wants them to be called.
Yeah, they can go suck it.
Yeah. Nice. So, yeah, that was kind of my discussion with Lowry about it. I wanted to put it out there. But, I mean, if you really wanted to invest in something that is going to go up and go up at a consistent pace over the next year. I think the dual lands,
especially if you don't have it and you got some extra cash, I'd say make sure you get some.
And to have them when you play Commander is fucking awesome.
It's really great. It's really great not to get dealt 2 damage or have a fetch land come, or a fetchable land come into play tapped.
Yeah.
You don't realize the power of them until you actually play with it, and then they just are that much better.
Do you think the other thing I was thinking is, I like the art on all those cards too. They look nice. I don't know if it's just nostalgic.
Bond lands or
no, I'm talking about original duels.
Original dual lands.
It might be nostalgic for like when we were kids, and
it could be. Well, the art is really good. Stephen Alexander does the art for all of them, and he's a really good artist. He comes back and forth every once in a while. But yeah.
So, sweet. Cool story, Hansel.
Yeah, no, great discussion. I love it.
Well,
if you got the money, get them. If not, avoid them, because they're really
thought
expensive.
We were going to run really, really short, and then I'm like, oh, we went over an hour. There we go.
I mean, apparently we're good at talking.
We like to hear our own selves talk.
No, I think you like to hear me talk, and I like to hear you talk. So
your voice is so beautiful, Lowry.
And I'd say very attractive.
Segment 2. That was pretty shitty.
We might try and do another one, but
we'll see. That was a test run. And
I laughed really hard.
I think half that segment was just laughing instead of actually talking about cards. All right, let's do our sign-offs here. So you can catch us on Twitter at CommanderSmiths. Once again, like I said before, if I'm going to put on there tonight that we finished cutting our podcast and finished doing our video, and just saying kind of a general when they're going to be coming out. So if you follow us on there, you'll get the update and kind of know when that's going to happen, or you can just wait when it pops up on your phone or whatever, saying a new episode. But easy way to know ahead of time, and
then
you can follow us on Twitter.
CommanderSmiths@gmail.com.
Shoot us your song requests.
I thought you were going to say something else.
What was I going to say?
Shoot us
your nudes.
Whatever. No, do not do that.
Now we're gonna get a bunch of
I wanted to be out of trouble this episode, and then you went and said that.
Penis shots. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be ball sacks and penises. And then you can also catch us on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Like I said, the video of us battle duels. Damn it.
Dueling boxes.
Maybe
you should have me say it more often.
Yeah, you do that.
You've thought about this a lot harder.
And like I said, we're going to be doing the video of making the proxies at some point. I haven't forgotten.
Stop doing a video tease. Just
get
it done or don't mention it.
I feel bad because I said that I was going to do it, and then I haven't done it. It's just been so freaking busy.
I mean, there's been a really large outcry by everybody.
I know.
Email and Twitter. I mean, you probably should get on
You're
that.
Such a douche. All right. So, yeah, anyways, at some point I will have that come up.
I can't
I want to call you drunk. I want to call you drunk, but we're at the end of the episode. So
did you hide my beer?
It's over here, actually. It's on my side. Got it away from Lowry.
It's a good beer. I think. I don't even remember which one it is at this point. Oh, no. Yeah, that is a good beer. We should have it soon.
Maybe next episode. I'll try to remember to call you a drunk.
More of a dick, I guess.
It's not that hard for you to do. All right. Well,
guess who's getting a nude in his email?
From you. Just going to be your butthole.
It's going to be my bone flute.
I'll show you my buffalo dick. All right, that'll do it.
Inherited that.
I do. Down to the knee. No, hung like a field mouse. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
All right.